ACC conference realignment. It's been a hot button topic across the country, not just ACC realignment, but realignment in general for the last few weeks, months, years. And we've been talking. We've been breaking it down. Yesterday on the show, we brought up a possible UConn move, Stanford and Cal, SMU, Florida State leaving. Who wants to go with them? Why did this team vote that way? Right, all of this happening. And the kind of the number one bit of feedback I've gotten is football's the only thing that matters. And every time I even just say the words basketball in those conversations, meant with a rousing response of basketball doesn't matter, adding basketball schools is why the ACC's in this position originally. If you want to talk about basketball, that's why Florida State wants to leave. Does basketball matter? I mean, it's like if it's said to you so many times that you can't help but start asking it yourself. Does basketball matter in the future of college sports? And you know what? If basketball doesn't matter, like so many of you tell me on our YouTube page, by the way, follow us 99.9 The Fan on Twitter at Donnelly Sports. When I see you in conversation, if basketball doesn't matter in the future of college sports, what the heck is happening with all the money it makes? That's a legitimate question.
Great question.
A 30-second commercial in the Final Four costs $1 million this past year. 1 30-second during either of the semifinals, $1 million. The championship game, $2 million for 30 seconds. It's real money. That's. I mean, who amongst us hasn't been watching the Final Four of the championship game and gone, this is a really long TV timeout? Yeah, it's because every 30 seconds is another $1 million or $2 million just printing. So yes, they make money on basketball. And not only that, if football drives everything, okay, because that's we're about to go into football season, football media rights, football this, football that, football name, image, and likeness money, football, every bit of this impactful situation, football, why not use basketball to help your overall football squad, athletics budget? According to the USA Today, Georgia, two-time defending football national champion, has the 5th highest college athletics revenue. So their college athletics program brings in the 5th most revenue. All 4 above them on that list, top 18 in basketball revenue. Right? So I'm not saying that Georgia is I'm not saying they need to make a ton of money in basketball to be a top-tier spending program. That'd be ridiculous. But I am saying their spot in that top-tier spending, that top-tier spending group could be decided by how much they bring in basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, the ones above them, Michigan, Alabama, Texas, I don't even think of them as like basketball blue bloods.
They're not.
I just think of them as, well, they make a decent amount of money in basketball, and that aids their entire athletics revenue.
Michigan probably has the deepest history of that group you mentioned.
True. And I'm not saying they're scrubs.
No, definitely not.
I'm just saying that they found a way to benefit from basketball, and that puts their athletics budget over the top of other schools that make a lot in football. I thought this was just kind of a fun financial fact for you. The difference in athletics revenue between Penn State, who's seen as a have, right? They're in the Big Ten. They get all that money. They have a giant stadium. The difference between Penn State and Louisville. I'm not saying Louisville's not lucrative, but they're usually not mentioned among the highest grossers. The difference in their two revenues is the exact same as the basketball revenue at Syracuse. So the basketball revenue is real. Duke, I know they're an outlier and they make the most by far, but they're making over $50 million. There are ACC schools who your entire revenue is $130, $140. If you're getting over a third of your money from basketball, that's a big jump.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you what it's starting to feel like. Moneyball. You've seen the movie?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Was Moneyball a Michael Lewis book? It might have been.
Yeah, sounds right.
And that's the Michael Orr thing. So we're going to have to dive in and make sure we know what's going on with what's real and what's not real with Moneyball. But the movie, right? We'll go with the movie as if that's, I don't know, somehow separate from the author of the book. The movie is where, right, basically the entire thing behind Moneyball and baseball is you find the stats that matter. You find the ways that you can be successful that nobody else is taking advantage of. Everyone else is chasing running backs and home runs. We're going to chase on-base percentage. And it's going to be cheaper because nobody else wants them. Basketball might be on-base percentage. While everyone else is chasing football this and football brands and football media and football this and football that, maybe you can sneak in and say, I mean, if we can all make $30, $40 million in basketball, that's a nice way to make up a difference that we're losing in football. Right? We might miss out on RBI driven by the home run, but hey, if we just keep getting guys on base and, not stealing because I pay you to get on first, not get thrown out on second. I could quote that movie all day.
Yeah.
If we just keep hammering home our basketball prowess, maybe it'll help. I do think it matters. I also agree that no one is treating it as if it matters. Right? So I talk about, hey, maybe UConn for the ACC. Now, I'm not going to ignore football. Don't get me wrong. I know it's number one. If UConn joins the ACC and I say, I need a commitment from you to spend a couple $100 million quickly on your football program, you have to put it in writing. I can wait while you do that because your basketball program is stepping right in and making us money right away. Right? Think of it, I mean, and it goes on, right? We could talk about all the different schools that may or may not be added. I don't know if you saw Kansas's new football locker room.
It's pretty wild.
It is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
That's a basketball school.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and it's Big 12, which is not making more money than the ACC in terms of TV revenue.
If you can tell me you're going to pour money into Kansas football, and in the meantime I get Kansas basketball, I'm with it, right? Mm-hmm. Like it does matter. It is not the most important thing in expansion, but don't ignore it. Think and Dennis brought this up yesterday. Just think about, like, if it comes down to, actually Big 12, perfect example, right? If it comes down to a media network, a media stream, I don't know, whoever's paying the big media money when it's time to negotiate next, if you have to choose between giving big money to the Big 12 or the ACC, the Big 12 is going to say, hey, we got Kansas, hey, we got Arizona, and neither of them are bringing much on the football side, right?
Not right now, no.
But they're going to say, but they bring basketball. And the ACC's counter is going to be, we have the Duke-North Carolina rivalry, right? Oh, yeah, and Carolina does bring, and Duke is on the way to bringing something on the football side too. So, I mean, as a tiebreaker, could you give me that? Could you give me that? In ACC expansion or conference realignment and media rights deals and everything that's going to shake up sports in the future, can you give me that basketball might be a pretty good tiebreaker? Right? And just in case it's going to be a tie, make sure you're going to win the tiebreaker. Right? It's that first game in group stage of World Cup where you're playing a scrub, so you beat them 8-0, just in case it comes down to goal differential. Right? Go make sure you win the tiebreaker and then try to win outright. But if it ends in a tie, you'll have the better basketball. And oh, by the way, your fans will love you for it because football season is awesome, but it's not the entire calendar year, right?
No, it's not.
I want something to watch in February and March also.
And January.
And I mean November, midday or midweek, mm-hmm. Right? My team's not playing football and swivel my head over to the other screen maybe.